Welcome to the final edition of Game On for the week, hosted by myself, Alex Parr. Today's episode will feature another On This Day, which has seemed to garner a good reaction from viewers like yourself, so we're going to keep with them going forward. We are also in the works to get me back out into the field trying different sports, as those are my favorite segments, as I'm sure they are yours. Don't forget to share the post on SoulOnline's Facebook to enter yourself into the Greyhound ticket giveaway. Come next Wednesday's edition of Game On, we will be announcing the winner. Now that the housekeeping duties are straightened out, let's hop into another edition of Game On. This day, way back in 1887, the first U.S. Women's National Championship was held when Ellen Hansel defeated Laura Knight 6-1, 6-0. In 1921, it was the very first time the World Series made it to radio broadcast. It saw the Yankees beat the Giants by a score of 3-0. In 2001, Barry Bonds hit his 71st and 72nd home run, where yesterday he tied the record, but now he broke Mark McGwire's MLB single season record. And in 2003 on this day was one of mourning for the NHL. On September 29, 2003, Danny Heatley was speeding between what was estimated at 55 miles per hour to 82 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone when he failed to keep his lane and crashed into a tree. The force of the impact split the car in half. Upon impact, the car ejected both Danny Heatley as well as his friend and teammate Dan Snyder. Snyder, who required surgery to repair a depressed skull fracture and was comatose. 6 days later, on October 5th, he lapsed into septic shock and died, never regaining consciousness. Heatley, who was charged with vehicular homicide, never saw jail time, and Snyder's parents forgave Heatley and asked for him to see no time behind bars. He was rather sentenced to 3 years probation in order to give 150 speeches on the dangers of speeding and paid $25,000 to Fulton County for the cost of investigating the crash. Birthdays. 2 big happy birthdays go to 2 NHL legends, Mario Lemieux and Patrick Waugh, who were both born on October 5th, 1965. Lemieux was born in Montreal that day, while Waugh was born not too far off in Quebec City. They both turned 53 today. Welcome back to Game On, where we're trying to encompass every sport, and I guess sport entertainment's got to fall into that category too. So we're going to take a look ahead at tomorrow's event, the Super Showdown in Australia. It's airing at 5 a.m. I don't know if I'm going to be up watching it, but Matt, let's talk about your wrestling knowledge. You said you watched it as a kid and you played some video games. So what video games were you playing? Do you remember?
Oh, I remember going to my cousin's house when I was in grade school. Like, we used to always like playing WWF when it was called back then, because then it changed to WWE a few years ago. So whenever I went to his house to play WWF, like, we would always enjoy the game. Like, you know, we knew it was only acting wrestling, but it's always a fun game to play when you're a kid. I liked it on Super Nintendo.
And what were some of the characters in the game that you remember?
Oh, I remember Deborah was one of them. That's
Deborah?
the only one I could really remember by name.
Was there Hogan in there? Was there guys like Undertaker and Triple H maybe? Or maybe you were too young, eh?
No, I remember Hogan, Hulk Hogan,
yes.
And he's also a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan.
Oh, really?
And and he actually does the Master of Ceremonies for the Tampa Bay Lightning for their home games. He gets the crowd pumped up right before the team comes on the ice. He goes, "Hello, everyone, Lightning fans. I can hear you. Are you ready for tonight?" He's a hockey fan too.
I had no idea. That's kind of cool that we're encompassing the sports side to the sports entertainment side. But now with the Super Showdown coming up, I'm a pretty big wrestling fan myself, and this is a pretty sizable event for the matches on the cards. So what we're going to do today, Matt, is you haven't been exposed to it for a bit, so we're going to take a look at the photos behind us here, and I want to get your opinions on what they look like, who you think is going to win, even though you might not know anything about them, okay?
I'll do my best.
Just based on their appearance. So our director is going to be changing the photos in the back. I'm going to ask for the first one right now, okay? So Matt, I don't know if you can see from the monitor up there, but if you can take a look behind us. I'm sure you know who John Cena is, correct?
I will do my best. I haven't known for a while, but I'll try to refresh my memory on my wrestling side.
So take a look at these guys behind us. This is one of the bigger matchups. John Cena, he's getting into movies now. He's quite the Hollywood, I wouldn't say A-list celebrity yet, but he's working his way up, following in the footsteps of The Rock. Yeah, I'm sure you know who The Rock is, right?
Oh yeah, The Rock. He's really popular, that guy.
Yes, acts in lots of movies. Now John Cena's kind of following his steps. It's a tag team match. 2 guys on the left are fighting the 2 guys on the right. First thoughts when you see this photo?
I'm going to have to say Well, this is actually a tough decision.
They're big guys, right?
Yeah, they are big guys. I don't know. We got some competition here, Alex, just by my view of it.
If you had to pick, I know we all know that Matt might not know a lot about WWE, but that's no worries. Just I want you to say who and why. Sure, you don't know who they are, but either way.
I'm just going to go with maybe this guy.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know, I just have a good feeling about him for some
Going with Kevin
reason.
Owens and Elias Sampson. Okay, we got our Dan's telling us, the director, we're not facing the front. We care about you, don't worry, guys. So the two guys on the right there, that's Kevin Owens and Elias. They've been feuding with John Cena and Bobby Lashley just a bit. John Cena's kind of coming back to this event just to get that star power in there. If I had to pick one, I'd unfortunately have to go against you, Matt. I think John Cena's going to come back and win because the kids love John Cena. Alrighty, we're going to take it to the next one now. I want to hear what Matt's got to say about the next photo coming up behind us here. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Now, Matt, can you see these guys up on the monitor over there to the top left there?
Yes, I can.
Big guy and a guy with what I like to call a soccer mom haircut. Who do you think the advantage is going to? One of them is a champion right now.
I'd have to say maybe the soccer mom haircut.
Ooh,
that's what I'm going to go with.
And is it because he's the champion, or is there something about him that just says, I think he's going to win?
Both. I think there's just something about him that says he's going to win, and
Okay.
you know he's mad enough to win the championship again this year. And you could tell in his face, you could tell, like, you know, he's ready to go. So I'm going to have to say him.
Exactly. I'll add a little bit to that, too. They've been feuding for a while now. They've had a couple matches going back and forth, but there's been some controversy over the last match where AJ Styles, the man pictured behind me, fought Samoa Joe, the other man pictured behind me. AJ Styles tapped out, but also at the same time, the ref counted the pin. If you go back and look at the replay, you'll get a little bit better of understanding. So there's been some controversy. Now the big guy, he's been going to AJ Styles' house, chirping his kids, chirping his wife. A little personal, wouldn't you say?
I'd say that's going to really get him upset. And anytime you go to someone's house and do that, like, that's crossing the line, because you don't go to someone's house and bully their family, because then he knows he's asking for trouble. He's asking to get knocked out. And I think that, you know, I still think he's going to win. But if you go to someone's house and insult their family, it's almost like you're asking to be beaten. Because that would get anyone in the world angry.
Absolutely. Now we're going to take it to the next photo. We got two more photos to go through. It's just some of the matches, the bigger matches on the card this evening. Who I don't know. You've been playing the WWE games, you said as a kid. Does the name The Undertaker bring back any memories for you? Is that someone you played as in the game?
Yeah, back when I was in elementary school, again, The Undertaker, I haven't heard that name for years, but again, it's starting to bring back memories just from the Super Nintendo era.
Yes. And Undertaker, he's coming back. He's having a match against Triple H. They're a bit up there in age. Do you know who Triple H is?
No, actually.
Triple H, he's storied. He's been a 13-time champion, many title reigns, big part of history. They haven't wrestled in a while. They had an end-of-an-era match back at WrestleMania 27. That's about 6-ish years ago now. Now they're rekindling it. Triple H, big guy, but Undertaker, the dead man. He's got such a storied legacy. If you take a look at those two guys up there, one's looking crazy. One's looking like he's ready to kill. And Triple H looks smug, confident. What do you think's going to win? The big dead man or Triple H, who's never beaten Undertaker at WrestleMania?
I'm going to have to say Triple H,
Ooh,
Alex, just
going
going
for the
by his
underdog.
record. Yeah, because, you know, he's going to be mad and he's going to want to win against this guy. And again, like, you know, this guy's been through so many tournaments, and I think that this guy's going to be ready for him finally.
Especially when you've been doing it for so long and you haven't been able to beat that one person. Almost like when Washington finally beat Pittsburgh. Washington kept going and going in the playoffs and couldn't do it. That's almost the matchup we have here, where Triple H needs to get over that hump to really solidify his legacy, I think. So let's take it to the final photo now. Another big match coming up for the evening. The Shield versus Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Oh, it almost slipped me. Same name as the old Leafs, Marley's goaltender, right? So it's a 3-on-3 match. We've got one Universal Champion, the main champion. We've got an Intercontinental Champion against the tag team and the Monster. He's been flipping transports. He's been flipping cars over. That's a pretty strong guy. Do you think that the guy that can flip a car is going to beat the team, the champion team?
I'd have to say yes. I think that the
Whoa.
guy that flips the cars and the transports, I mean, like, that's a dangerous guy. And you know what? If they could do that, nobody in the world could beat that guy. Because if you could flip over a vehicle, we're talking 30,000 pounds right there. So he could definitely take on anyone. I say that's an unbeaten guy.
And I know you're not watching every week-to-week basis like I am, but why would you think somebody that can flip a cart isn't the champion? He's not really a good guy necessarily. He'll cheat when he has to. Do you think it's because cheaters never win, essentially?
No, I think, like they say, it's not cheating unless you get caught. And again, but cheaters, I have no respect for those people because, you have to play the game honestly. But I'd have to say no. The guy that flips over the transport, I think the other guys don't stand a chance if they're up against him. Well, I say he's the favorite.
Ooh, Matt's made some bold predictions, and I'm going to make sure he keeps his eye on these matches over the weekend, because between UFC 229, Super Showdown, the NHL season backup, there's a lot to watch, and we're all excited for it. So stay game on, and you'll have a little bit more opinions next time around. We made it. The end of the week. Give yourself a pat on the back. It's time to be thankful, as this is the long Thanksgiving weekend. Everyone at ONNtv wishes you a safe and tasteful Thanksgiving surrounded by your loved ones. We will be back next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. and we hope to see everyone with a full stomach. Good night, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. Well, thanks again for tuning into another video of Game On here on our YouTube channel.
Is this just your show?
No,
is this just your show? I'm in the show too, Alex.
Guys, we're rolling. Oh boy, do I ever love working with Matt Stefano on Game On. Thanks for tuning in. Matt, do you have anything to say?
Alex, you're number one. I enjoy working with you too. We're the best.
If I'm number one, you're number one. What do you mean? You're number one.
You're number one.
No, you.
No, you're number one.
Fine.
Come on, we're both number one.
Okay, I'll take it.
You're number one team.